Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Superman and Lois Season 3, and this is going to be my review for Episode 1 for this season, the Season 3 premiere. Hallelujah, it's finally back, Superman and Lois, and this episode is otherwise entitled Closer, and it's closer for a couple different reasons. But of course, spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about everything spoiler-y, whatever the word is, within this video. So if you've not watched the episode, go away, because some big stuff happens, pretty much sprinkled throughout the entire episode. So got a decent amount to talk about. So if if you haven't seen it, go away. What are you doing? But if you have watched the episode and you are continuing on, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your favorite parts of the episode, what you thought of it as a whole, what you didn't like, I guess, and just any theories and predictions moving forward. What was going on at the end there? Let me know. And so let me know in the comment section down below what you're thinking. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, you enjoy the episode, want to show your support, want to drop a like on the video, it takes 2 seconds. So last season had a lot of stuff going on, but really, it's not even worth talking about. Let's just talk about this episode. Let's go. So this episode, I must say, just as a quick review, overall thoughts, great way to kick off the season. It was a bit like, okay, a lot of stuff happening, takes down a bit, just a bit groovy. But I think that's the way this needed to go. I didn't want it to be like wham, wham, thank you, ma'am. I think we needed that character stuff in this episode, which builds up different arcs. There's one thing I wasn't thinking was going to be an arc leading into the rest of the season or other parts of this season, which I was sort of surprised with. I was like, oh, this is just to fill in time and sort of like show someone's role within the show. And I was like, oh wait, there might be some other mystery here, which might even connect to some other stuff that's going on in the show as well. So I was sort of surprised by that, which we'll talk about later in the video. But yeah, I think this did a good job setting up a couple of different things, and even the villainous side of things, which was awesome within the episode, and a character that was theorized about showing up this season was 100% confirmed in an even more comic booky way than I thought was possible. It was insane, and as a Green Arrow fan, I was like, that is awesome. Yeah, let's just talk about this episode and break it down. So we pick up 27 days. That is the specific amount of days, 27 days after most of the events from the end of season 2. That's where we pick up from, with the Kents entering the new fortress. We saw, being erected at the end of season 2. It looks pretty cool inside, very comic booky, everything like that. And we pretty much just see everyone else getting back to a more normal and, in some ways or in most ways, a better life. This including Clark going back into the world of journalism and working at the Smallville Gazette. There's not too much of that with him in this episode. It's just sort of saying that's where he is now, everything like that. And we also see Clark and Lois getting a bit sexual, shall we say, if we want to keep it PG and keep the video monetized. For goodness sake, let's do that. Now Lois is back investigating Bruno Manheim after being years off the case, and of course he's brought into the fold, like we saw at the end of last season with John Henry, and obviously between seasons off screen, Lois has been caught up to date with what's going on there. So this is pretty much, as it's been said going into this season, Bruno is Lois's white whale, and we weren't too exactly sure like how threatening and how dangerous he was back then and how he could be now. Based off the end scene in this episode, he looks pretty damn threatening in multiple different ways by himself and his associates. So yeah, Lois, you have one hell of a journey for this season, I think. Now, we did have Clark training Jordan, which was a really cool scene, them flying over the ocean and Clark just messing with Jordan and knocking him into the ocean. I thought that was pretty funny. And this includes some hologram sparring with a classic Superman villain, which I thought was really, really cool. And I did think it was hilarious that it was like 100 times more stressful for Lois to be training Jonathan in the whole driving thing than Clark training Jordan in being a superhero. I thought that was hilarious that the stress levels were just so much higher with Lois. And even Jonathan as well. He looked like he was about to jump out of a moving car. Now, there is this broken crane in the rain. Yeah, I know, poet, and I didn't even know it, in Malaysia, and Superman is to the rescue. But when we get there, Jordan is already there, pretty surprisingly. I thought it was a villain at first, and then like Clark or Superman just says, oh, it's Jordan. So I was like, oh, okay, well, it's not anyone evil. I thought it might be the person actually causing the crane to fall. But Jordan being there, well, he does more damage than good. And as you'd expect, Superman is not happy, and Jordan is sort of like lying to cover his tracks and cover himself. So you can tell this is going to be an issue going forward, or at least I thought it was going to be. But this episode sort of has Jordan learning from his mistakes pretty quickly. But I think it's going to be one of those situations where Jordan maybe gets confused as to like, well, you want my help sometimes, Dad, but then sometimes you don't. Like, what's going on? Feels like real life. Like your dad would be like, hey, come over here and like hold this plank of wood while I hammer it in. And then he yells at you because you're holding it, but not holding it like the correct 1% angle that he needs it to be. It's like, hold on, you wanted my help, but now you're yelling at me. What's going on? So maybe Jordan is stuck in one of those situations. I'm sure we've all been in that type of situation with your dad where he wants you to help. You try to help and you get yelled at. It's annoying as hell, isn't it? Now, one thing I was excited about heading into this season, which we get straight into it in this season, is Lois going undercover in order to investigate, Bruno Manheim. But first, it's sort of attached to the John Henry Irons story, as she does go to talk to John Henry Irons' sister, the John of this Earth, with us learning that he was actually involved in weapon and tech trading with not just, good people, but figures like Bruno Manheim and Lex goddamn Luthor. So there is definitely more to what this Earth John Henry did after leaving his surface, and of course before he was killed. Now here's the big thing. I know we haven't got to in the breakdown, but what happened at the end of this episode and how someone died but was brought back to life? Did this happen to John Henry Irons of this Earth? There's a big theory throughout this season, and we might not know until the end of this season, but there's a big theory that he is not dead. That he is not dead, and he is maybe one of the lead subjects of what's happening this season. Just keep that in the back of your head. He may not be dead. And maybe the end of this episode does hint at it, but let's continue on. Now, though she's undercover, Lois does tell the nurse some real symptoms that she's having, and Dr. Irons actually believes that she may be pregnant, and this makes Lois go, oh damn. So yeah, and that obviously spurs a lot of stuff forward throughout this episode. Now, one thing I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty random, but we have Sam or General Lane taking Natalie out to the movies because, of course, on her Earth, Sam is her grandfather. Now, Sam has no natural connection to her, but she does. So it's sort of like a show of good faith, I guess you could say, from Sam. And we see that the reason he took her out alone was actually to try and get her to join the DoD Academy, where, of course, Sam is back working at, where he feels she would feel, better suited, with John Henry not feeling that good about it either because Natalie was pretty peed off about it. Now, Clark does arrive home after his adventure with Jordan, if you want to put it, but this is brought down to earth when Lois reveals what she learned while at, Dr. Irons. And, of course, as you'd expect, this is a big shock and just very unexpected. But the scene with Clark running into John Henry while he was buying pregnancy tests was quite funny, quite awkward, funny, just how they reacted to each other, I thought was hilarious. Now, John does advise Clark that if he has any hesitation about having another child or just this whole situation, to make sure that he's open to Lois, which I think was some pretty good advice. I mean, he was married to his Lois, so he would know how to talk to her, I guess. But as we see with Lois when she's talking to Lana, she is very excited about bringing another family member into the mix potentially. So on Lois's end, there's no worries. It's just more on Clark thinking about Lois, I guess. Now, Jonathan's driving test instructor being his former football coach, I thought was hilarious. But more surprising was the fact that he actually passed the goddamn test. If I had someone doing my driving test when I did it initially, and it was someone that probably has some sort of grudge against me, I don't think I'd be passing. I'd probably give them a dirty look, and they just go, "Nope, you're done. You failed." But as we heard in the conversation between Jonathan and Jordan earlier, this was sort of Jonathan's ticket to freedom. So you can see how just happy and excited he was to pass, and Lois even repeated that, saying this is the happiest I've seen. Can't believe he hugged me very hard or whatever it was. So yeah. Jonathan is over the moon. Now, speaking of Jonathan, we had Jordan and Jonathan's 16th birthday party, which had been featured in the trailers and everything like that. But this is sort of like a party where a lot of things come out. Now, we had John Henry confronting Sam about what happened with Natalie, and you can tell that Sam completely regrets what happened there, and he just wasn't really looking at it at that angle. He was just more thinking, about, Natalie just as if she was from this Earth, not thinking about the relationship that he as his appearance has with her and everything like that, and just Natalie's situation as a whole. So you can tell Sam regrets that, which is a good thing to see. He didn't just blow it off oh, it's not my fault. You can tell he's like, oh God, I've stuffed up here, which I think was a really good thing that they really did showcase there. But we did have Jordan and Jonathan's birthday video, which it was funny because they used real photos of the actors when they were younger, and the new actor for Jonathan is Australian, and behind him in the photos is various Australian food brands. I think I saw Bega cheese, and even the kitchen looks very Australian. That sounds weird, but if you're Australian, you know, the kitchen has a very Australian look to it. So I thought that was pretty funny. Now, during all this stuff, Clark is called out to be Superman. I was like, okay, this is going to be sort of like the fight scene that we've seen in the trailers and everything like that. But it took a bit of a turn that I was not expecting. So we do have Adam Man from the season 1 flashbacks. He's returned. This was seen in the trailers, nothing, a bit of a shock there. And he's got an upgrade. Once again, not a shock, we saw it. So he has powers now. It's pretty much just Superman powers, I guess. He can fly, super strength, everything like that. But of course, he didn't have this before. He just had a flamethrower and some grenades when we saw him back in season 1's flashbacks. And this was an awesome fight scene, great effects, everything like that. But Superman does ask who gave Adam Man his powers, with Adam Man replying, "They are coming for me," and that is why he has to finish off Superman before that happens. Now, while this is all going on, Jordan can hear this fight happening, but chooses not to fly off to help due to the events earlier in the episode, which I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think Jordan was going to sort of like change up that quickly. But as Atom Man is about to try and finish off Superman, he is mysteriously and all of a sudden shot, or at least appears to be shot, because Superman can't see any bullets when he uses his X-ray vision. He's like, what the hell? There's no bullets. What's going on here? And this is when we then pan to a mysterious person in the alley with this creepy ass face going on, and it appears to be Onomatopoeia or Onomatopoeia, whichever way you want to pronounce it, who is a Green Arrow villain mostly and sometimes Batman villain in the comics. And it appears that the noise they make is the weapon rather than just replicating the noise like they do in the comics. So it's a bit of a change up, but it looked so creepy, but so cool at the time. It was like moving. It was like, I don't know, I felt like I was watching like Last of Us or something like that. It looked like some sort of creepy fungus sort of alien face thing. So creepy, but so cool at the same time. Now, the former mayor of Smallville does confront Lana, because she's now mayor, of course, about the use of various spending pots and that she doesn't understand what she is doing, and there just seems to be some danger around it. And of course, this is in regards to the school, there's like a mold problem, all that stuff. So there is some sort of like other mystery going on in regards to that to track in future episodes. So that's a keep your eye on it situation. And that's the thing I was talking about earlier in the video, where there was just like another sort of like subplot mystery that I was not expecting to see happen that is going to be going forward, I guess. Now, Clark and Lois appear to be all in on baby number 3, with Kyle and Chrissy having a one-night stand, which is finished off with the finalized divorce papers from Lana coming Kyle's way. So quite a night for Kyle. One-night stand, got busy, and then got legally busy, which also was very emotional because that's pretty much it. Will there be a way around that? I don't know. But you can tell Kyle is not comfortable with Lana moving on, because he was getting quite jealous when Lana was talking to John Henry at the party, and that sort of led to this one-night stand with Chrissy. Now, we do learn that Atom Man had a brain tumor, of all things, and that's why he was released from prison. However, that was months ago when he only had weeks to live. So how is he still alive? He should be dead by now due to that tumor. So obviously that leads to a couple of questions. One, why was he still alive at this point? And 2, is that why he had powers as well? So, what's going on there? And shortly after this, Lois does get a call to come into Dr. Irons' office again about her pregnancy situation to see what is the cause for some irregularities. So there's all happiness around this pregnancy, but I think that happiness is going to be brought down to the ground, and some real life issues are going to come face to face with Lois. So hopefully that might not be too triggering, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there, because Lois looked very concerned on the phone. But the end scene of this episode, we do have the body of Atom Man in an underground train station, where we see Onomatopoeia there as well, but also Bruno Manheim. This is the reveal of Bruno Manheim, with Atom Man being given more solution, which brings him back to life, with this solution looking like, I guess, like ex-kryptonite, but liquid. It was like a yellow sort of color, with this apparently being a sign of them getting closer to something. That's what Bruno Manheim said. But what are they getting closer to? Is it like an elixir for life, that he can die here, be shot, but then be brought back to life, and I guess still have his same memories? I guess that matters next time we see Atom Man, what's going on there. Does he act exactly the same? Like no like zombification or something? This is weird. Now, this is what I was talking about before with John Henry Irons. We know that John Henry Irons was sort of involved in the Bruno Manheim thing, and Bruno Manheim and Intergang are believed to be the ones that killed him. Is John Henry Irons still alive, or like kept on ice for maybe a final solution like this? You never know. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the case, because the John Henry Irons thing is going to be a main part of this season. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's some big twist like that later in the season. So, keep your eyes out for that. But that introduction scene to Bruno Manheim and Onomatopoeia and just this whole Intergang thing was pretty crazy, and hype levels are there. Can't wait to see where this goes. But overall, great episode. Great way to kick off the season. It wasn't a 10 out of 10. I'd probably give it, honestly, I enjoyed the hell out of this episode. Wasn't really bored throughout the episode, so I'd probably give it like a solid 9. I think a solid 9. Maybe if you bumped up to a 9.5, I would definitely not argue. Great way to start the season. Very solid, and set the platform for a couple of different multiple interesting and different storylines throughout the season. And I think at least a couple of them or a few of them are definitely going to interconnected points. So I can't wait to see how that plans out or plays out, might I say. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you drop a like and show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on all the stuff we went over. Favorite part from the episode, what you love, what you hate, any theories moving forward. Always curious to hear what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.